Okay, Daniel Bwala, you know, some people have said the president, with these financial autonomy now granted to the local government, that's the Supreme Court judgment granting financial autonomy to the local government. Some people have described that as a master stroke. But, you know, the governors, we have seen their statements commending that judgment, welcoming that judgment. But some people have said, you know, it's grudgingly, they do not particularly like the fact that local governments will become independent. And it might also set them up against the president. Do you foresee that?
No. Anybody who doesn't welcome the idea of financial autonomy of the local government is anti-democratic and does not want the progress of Nigeria. I think the policy and the moves of the president towards redirecting the country so we can have a full-fledged democracy at work is one that will naturally irk and annoy those people who have been used to rent-seeking or a system that has not so far allowed the country to move forward. And I'll give you an example. This notion that the governors are going to be up in arms, you know, politically speaking, against the president, I think is just a fallacy. A fallacy because you have seen after the Supreme Court decision from every part of Nigeria, especially from the southeastern Nigeria, where people tend to have this thinking that the president is not popular. You have seen video clips of people singing his name and thanking him. Why? Because financial autonomy to the local government is taking government to the foundation. The foundation, that's why in our recent national anthem, we talk about we from every tribe. Because before Nigeria became a nation and a republic, we are all entities in our ethnic nationalities. And that was where government and administration was established. If you take your mind back to the pre-colonial era, you see system of administration, local policing, well-established local government system. And then over time, as we became a republic and then we discovered oil, everybody ran away from the primary constituency. Why do you think in politics they will say to show that you are a political weight person, show us your grassroots? Where is the grassroots? The foundation. Where is the root? The foundation. Where is the constituency? The foundation. Where the governor comes from? So the president took that government that people took away to the center right back to where it belongs. And this is where the foundation of insecurity in Nigeria is. This is where the foundation of the lack of education and poor health facilities. Do you know, for God's sake, that 21 states of the Federation are not running a democratically elected administration of local government? And it is a slap on the face of the Constitution. The governors who are against, I'm happy that some are showing excitement, but the governors who are against the local administration, the autonomy of the local government, are governors where, if you take a critical look at their states, you will see they probably have the worst local government system in the country. Because 20.3 or 4% of the allocation is supposed to go to the local government. But it is co-managed with the 20.6 of the state. When you add, you had about almost 50.1 or so, or thereabout. The states are managing it. And the president, when he began, permit me to land on this one, when he began, he showed good faith by making sure that states are adequately supported financially. He even added some money to them. But can you tell me from when the president became president to today, the local government in Nigeria, whether there is marked improvement in the healthcare, in the education, even in food security that we're talking about? So it's a welcome development, and the entirety of the federation, from what I've been monitoring, are excited with that development. So any government that is not, I think that the government is exposing themselves.
Well, I think they say, some people have said the problem again is also because the system or the government at that third tier has not been particularly accountable or held to account, maybe by the state governors, because, you know, monies are distributed from the federal to the state, and then when it gets to that third tier of government, it is no longer accounted for. And that's that is why some governors have decided to still superintend over the affairs of the local government.
And the governors who are superintending over the affairs of the local government, how accountable are they? So it is a case of pointing accusing fingers at the local government when you have not been able to demonstrate with the increased resources that you have actually delivered accountable government. Take, for example, shortly before we had the increased allocation, the fear of the government is that they could not meet up with staff salary, they could not meet up with projects, that so many of the states are likely bankrupt. The president sat with them and they agreed on the increased formula. But nothing has shown and nothing is seen in those states. The president recently called them, gave them additional 10 billion. Nothing is seen. So they are actually, by their inadvertentness, they are putting more of the pressure on the president. You have not been accountable and you are afraid that the local government chairman will not be accountable. But in all this, I can promise you that with this decision of the Supreme Court, the local government chairman are going to be more effective. You know why? When the governor knows the money is not coming to him, he will neither allow the local government chairman to eat, also he will ensure that the local government chairman uses the money for the good of that locality. If that is their argument, it's a baseless argument. If they extend the argument to say there is no well structure of administration, it is also their fault. Even the candidate of the Labour Party, that's why ever since the decision of the Supreme Court was delivered, he has been quiet and has not been, he's used to grandstanding, and he has not said anything. You know why? Throughout his tenure as a governor, he refused to conduct local government administration. So we must clap for President Bwala for pushing this agenda to ensure that we deal with the critical problem confronting us as a nation. And by the way, nobody is looking at a day when, by the application of this constitutional provision and the decision of court, that overnight local government chairmen are going to be perfect. But whether they are perfect or not, one, president wants to obey the constitution. Two, president wants to ensure that the local government see what comes to them from this republic. And then three, they will be able to hold their local government chairman to account. You will find chieftaincy will work. Our traditional leaders are not going to be agents of bandits and terrorists because they are not empowered. We are going to have local vigilantes well structured and empowered. We are going to have wild park. We are going to have this healthcare system at the local level. Very, very much. Government is going to go down to the local government. So I don't think that is a worthy argument that the local government chairman are likely not going to be accountable. It's not an argument that can be sustained.
All right, Daniel Bwala. You know, people have also complained about the way the local government chairmen are elected and are now even advocating for the scrapping of the State Independent Electoral Commission, saying that INEC, that's at the federal level now, should be charged with conducting election at the third tier of government. Probably just to tinker with the Constitution and make some legislations that would empower INEC to carry that out. What's your own take on these arguments?
I agree with that point 100%. As a matter of fact, that is the political autonomy, because if that's the electoral autonomy, if you grant autonomy to the local government because of the interference of the state, you must also ensure that the process by which the chairman emerge must be one that is not still under the clause of the governor, right? INEC as a national body, by law, in my view, has the capacity to conduct elections. Now, there are a lot of people who have quoted, constitutional provision that talk about state electoral commission. Fine. There is going to come a time when we talk about the constitutional review process, even though governments are likely going to try to stop it. But I think that the Attorney General, in the same way that he found a local standard to approach the Supreme Court on the matters of financial autonomy of the local government, there are enough provisions in the Constitution and the Electoral Act in order to give effect to the judgment of the Supreme Court and the spirit and the letter and intention of the lawmakers. He can still approach the Supreme Court and ask whether or not, having regards to the provision of the law and the decision of the court recently, in Attorney General of the Federation and Attorney General of all the states of Nigeria, whether the National Electoral Commission should not conduct elections at the local level. And I believe that since the Supreme Court is a court of law and court of policy, and they have applied the law and policy in the last judgment, they are likely to see that in order to give effect to their judgment, there is need for the National Electoral Commission to conduct election at the local level, pending when there will be constitutional amendment that will clearly spell out the responsibility of INEC to do that.